Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, or Madam Chair. This does not need to be divisive. We owe it to our employees to have a place for them to work. We owe it to the community to have a place for the police to work out of. And as much as folks don't want to hear about this being a real estate transaction, it is a simple real estate transaction. So let me describe it to you. In real life, when we work with a partner who wants to build deeply affordable housing, they don't come up with an entire plan and then go look for a site. They find a site and then they determine what they're going to put on it. And this is very parallel to that. We've asked staff to come up with a site where we can house officers from the 3rd precinct. Council members have rightly said, we think it needs it to be a different model. It needs to be something bigger and more than that. And the administration came back and said, we can do more on this site. And we've said, well, we want to know what you're going to do. And they've said, well, we want to ask the community what they're going to do. And that's where we're at. We need to pick a site so that we can house the officers in the 3rd precinct and work towards building out a community safety center, knowing that this site is ready to go for the most pressing need, has the space for the other needs, falls into a price tag that doesn't mean we need to be making money in the printing money in the basement of City Hall. Perhaps if everyone put more time into working with the administration to envision what a public safety center could look like, instead of forcing staff to come up with 29 different sites and then picking apart each one, the public safety center would be further along. I don't hear very many people saying, yes, I want to work with you on that. I hear lots of people saying, no, we don't like this, we don't like that, come back to us with this, come back to us with that. But there are a lot of people on this council who have expertise in this area and could volunteer to work with the administration and our new director of public safety to come up with what the alternatives could be and should be. And we need to get beyond this real estate decision in order to start envisioning what a new public safety center would look like, including the community's point of view.
Thank you. I'm seeing nobody else in queue, and I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll. This is for the approval of 2633 as a site for the 3rd precinct.
Councilmember Payne.
Nay.
Walmsley.
Nay.
Rainville.
Yes.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Nay.
Osman.
No.
Goodman.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Nay.
Koski.
Aye.
Chavez.
No.
Chair Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 6 ayes and 6 nays.
Thank you. That motion fails. I ask to make a motion that we send this item forward without recommendation so that we can maybe have a little bit more time to have conversation and pick this up on Thursday.
So moved.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Walmsley.
Nay.
Rainville.
Yes.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Excuse me, this is on Chavez's
No,
motion?
this
This
is-
is,
No.
okay.
Moving it forward without recommendation.
Oh, got it. Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Chugtai.
No.
Koski.
Aye.
Vice Chair Chavez.
No.
Chair Palmisano.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes and 3 nays.
Thank you. It will go forward to the City Council meeting this Thursday for consideration. Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Chavez that he's added to the agenda. I'll invite you to introduce your motion. And then I know the City Attorney has a priority motion to speak to it.
Chair Palmisano, I'd like to move an additional motion, as I mentioned earlier, authorizing staff to enter into a purchase agreement and conduct preliminary site investigation and design work for a community safety center at the property located at 3716 Cheatham Avenue South.
Thank you. City Attorney, did you have something you wanted to start?
Chair Palmisano, council members, this motion, it's a little confusing to me. It feels like you're directing staff to enter into, I mean, you're directing staff, which is not the council's prerogative. It's the mayor's prerogative to identify a location and then bring that forward to council for approval, not the opposite way. If what the council is looking for is information about whether this particular location could support a community safety center, I think that could be a legislative directive directed to the mayor for that kind of information. But the motion as it's written appears out of order to me.
Councilmember Chavez, did you want to retract this motion?
No, I disagree with that opinion.
I don't think that's something that we can do here, but I'll go forward with a little bit of discussion on this. First in queue is Councilmember Goodman.
Well, Madam Chair, I don't know that it's worth having a discussion. You don't get to just tell the city attorney, I don't agree with you. It's appropriate when it's not. So I'm not sure it's worthy of having discussion, but I suppose if you want to have discussion, I'd like Councilmember Chavez to tell us what the price is, how long it would take, what the plan is for remediating the grain elevators, how long it would take to tear them down, how we would do the environmental remediation, where would all the money come from. When the administration has analyzed this site, I was in the meeting with Councilmember Johnson when this site came up, and initially I thought it was a good site. And I discussed it with staff. And then I dug into it myself. I showed Councilmember Ellison and Councilmember Osman a photo of the site, and I'm happy to pull it up again so you can all take a look at it. But the last time I checked, tearing down grain elevators is a massive effort, and it's extremely expensive, and it puts a massive amount of environmental liability on us. So this is just another let's delay this. Otherwise, Councilmember Chavez could explain to me how he would see this working since he brought this forward.
You don't need to respond to this if you don't want. I also think this isn't about delaying a vote on 2633 unless you're going to.
This is separate vote.
So this is to add an additional community safety center elsewhere in the community.
Yes, I mean, the initial thing is that I want to bring forward this option. You all clearly indicated to the city council when we passed the legislative directive that you expect us all to make a decision. I came forward with my decision based on the conversations you all asked me on the dais. And this is what I'm proposing, that we can move forward on a new vision of public safety that brings the community along, simply put.
Okay, I don't want to get into it.
You can, and the one thing I will say right now, and I will say this out loud, it is frustrating the way you treat me in public. It is disgusting. It is despicable. And you don't get to treat me like that. I do not do that to you when you're talking. I don't do that to you when you're talking to me when you're on the dais. I don't do that. I don't do that to you. I don't do that to you.
I'm going to call decorum.
Now you call decorum when I'm talking.
Nope. I thought you were done saying what you needed to say.
Of course.
That is not the case. I called it on both of you. I don't know that we need to belabor this, but Council President Jenkins, do you have any?
Well, I guess my question was, is this a standalone community center, or would it include MPD officers as well, for clarity?
This is the same thing that I was proposing as a site. It does include MPD. And that would be up to the Office of Community Safety to also determine the vision for that as well. You all asked me to come up with this.
So we would have 2 third precincts?
No, but this was, you asked me to come up with a location. I'm coming up with my preference of a location.
All right.
I'm not sure if that answers my question, but it's fine.
Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I voted no on the last location because it feels that there's this false sense of urgency and some sort of desire to create this perception that we're dysfunctional. And the reality is that none of us were here when it was the most important moment to start making some of these critical decisions. The 3rd precinct burned down in 2020. We were elected in 2021. We were sworn in 2022. There was a good year and a half where something could have been decided. And we've spent the better part of this year reorganizing the deck chairs for our government structure while not taking up this question. And so I think what Councilmember Chavez is trying to bring forward is an option that puts us in the right sequence. And the reason that this is even approximating controversy is because there's been such a breakdown in trust between the community and the city. And trust is not some, magical, mysterious thing. It's a really straightforward thing. The way that you build trust is you say what you're going to do, and then you follow through on it. You don't say what you're going to do and do something else. And, what I was seeing is another example of, saying one thing and doing another. I mean, it says we're going to build a comprehensive community safety center, but it sounds like what we're actually going to do is build a police precinct. And maybe if you trust us, that will eventually become a community safety center. But as I just described, we don't have a well of trust with our community to believe us when we say that this is going to be our path forward. And so I'm trying to get people to listen to the community so that there is some trust that's built up. And right now, we just don't have any. And so I support Councilmember Chavez's motion because he's actually done the work to build trust with the community. The community listens to him. The community respects him. Councilmember Wansley's built a lot of trust in her community. Nobody asked whether or not she wanted this new comprehensive safety center asterisk in her ward. And so there is a process that we can do this that builds trust with the community and brings everybody on board with celebration and excitement and enthusiasm. We're not going to get there by coming up with new proposals on a Friday and forcing a vote on a Tuesday. That's not the basis for building trust. And so what I believe Councilmember Chavez is trying to accomplish is to build trust with the community, bring the community along to a future public safety center that includes MPD and their base of operations in conjunction with community services. And what we need to do is have this location, 3716 Cheatham Avenue, considered for that future. And so whatever language needs to be made to make this within the purview of City Council so that we can have that process moving forward based on trust, bringing community along, let's figure that out. And we have another hour and 10 minutes to craft the language on this motion to be able to do that.